Howdy, guys. Thank you for being a part of the Engaged event. Can't wait to see all that God does in you and through you. I know that He's going to move mightily as you work and invest in these couples at your table. Just wanted to give you some good tips today to help you prepare and engage with the couples that are coming and going to be sitting at your table. I have invited my friend Chris Burkle, who does all of our training here at the Engaged event, to come and give you some good tips. He's also going to tell you some things that will help you have success at the event as well. He's probably going to share with you some ideas of things that he learned because of the things that I did not do well and how he's helped us get better as an organization as a whole. So Chris Burkle is a good friend of mine. So please, without further ado, we welcome Chris to the table.
Hi, my name is Chris Burkle. Thank you, Colby and Amanda, for giving me the opportunity, the privilege to share some ideas with you guys. A little bit of background on me. I'm a financial advisor. I have a firm that I've built over the last 20 years, and I'm going on also my 20th year of marriage, and I've got 3 kids. All right, so but I wanted to share with you just kind of some things that I recognized when Colby asked me to be a part of the event. Some things that we've talked about and had some fellowship with after the fact. And so I want to give these things to you because we're going to sharpen this whole thing, right? That's the whole point, is to elevate the experience of everybody that you have contact with at the event. Just I want to tell you that the mindset is that the event for you doesn't sit down when the first couple sits at the table. The event for you doesn't start when Colby and Amanda get up on the stage. The event starts right when you walk in. And when you're going there ahead of time, even preparing your mind, praying about the couples, praying about your interaction with them and how receptive that they will be to what you have to say. So I just wanted to say that, and let's just kind of get in, okay? Here we go. All right, so I wanted to kind of get into the nuts and bolts of this a little bit and give you guys kind of an outline that you can improve upon. But I will tell you, not trying to throw Colby under the bus. He's a good friend. He knows I love him, but we didn't communicate the very best to us in terms of what to expect and getting into the details. We had an address. So we were there and we were ready to show up. But what do we do once we get there? My wife kind of looked at me and said, you do this every day, talking with people. So just do what you do. And I said, okay, well, what do I do? All right, well, here's what I would do. So when people sit down, this is super key, because the first few seconds that you have and when you're engaged with people in their conversations, and just the first few seconds that they come in, they've already sized you up. One of my favorite books that I've read growing up, it still applies today, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. You can smile, even laugh a little bit. It's fine. That stuff still works for today, okay? So when they're sizing you up in the first part of your interaction with them, man, let's make that positive, because that will set the tone for your interaction with them the rest of the day, okay? So when they come in, you want to ask them. In fact, here's a little technique that I used to do kind of growing up into the business. I played this little game with myself when I had interaction with individuals, is that I made it a point. I said, you know what? I'm not even going to talk about myself at all. I'm going to actually find... Maybe for you guys, it's not hard, but for me, it was kind of, I guess, a little hard. So I had to play that game to not talk about myself or give any, even when people said, when I asked them a question like, hey, what do you do? For me to say, yeah, because I turn around, it's very easy to turn that back around and me start talking, right? So I would play this little game. I don't want to say anything about myself until they ask. And you get good at the art of asking questions this way. And so you can practice this because, again, as I said before, this did not come natural to me. I had to train myself to ask questions so that people felt engaged. It's the old adage, right? People don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. It is so true, right? And it applies here. All right, so when they come in, you're having interaction, you're asking them all kinds of questions. I know for some of you, this is just going to feel like, yeah, why is he talking about this? Because I do this natural anyway, right? For some of you, you're probably breaking out into cold sweats like I did coming up in the business. But you want to ask questions. You want to get good at that. You want to ask, hey, what do you do? What brought you here? All of the things, right? You want to ask those questions and then respond. Wow, that's really interesting. How long have you done that? Do you enjoy it, right? We're just asking questions here, and keep doing that. Don't talk about yourself at all, because then they will start feeling like you care. And that tone will be important later, all right? Now we're kind of moving on. The event has started. Dr. Kim is kind of going through all the information about the various topics. What's really great, though, I will say that what Colby and Amanda have put together in terms of questions and everything, that's a great guideline. Okay, so what I'm about to say is not taking anything away from that, but I kind of want to talk about, again, it's all about elevating the experience. And you might say, I've said this a couple times, and I promise you it's not going to be the last time you hear it, because or you might say, well, what is this? Why do you keep talking about elevating the experience? My goal when someone comes into my office, or when I was at the event, my goal is that when they leave that interaction with me, that let's say with the event, that that couple, that their significant other, they're talking to each other in that car on the way home or whatever, and they say, gosh, I am so glad that we did that. I'm so glad that was time well spent. That was fantastic. When you look back, when you reflect back, when they have conversations, it is just such an amazing experience, because if they don't have that feeling, you have to ask the question. It's like, what is it all for? Like, what are we doing this for? We have to elevate that experience and have that kind of conversation and that dialogue to make an impact. That's what it's about. So when we're talking and going through, after Dr. Kim gets done with his session, because he's speaking from the platform, then it's kind of broken out into small groups. I will tell you, you will have more time in certain areas than others. You've got to make the most of the time that you've got, because they're going to be starting and you're going to be in this awesome dialogue, and it will end abruptly. Okay, so just be prepared for that. So this is going to be just kind of like, hey, how do we make the most of the time that what we've got, right? So after the first session, then you have a tendency to kind of go to the questions, and those are good. But the very first question that I always ask is, what are your biggest concerns going forward? Let that just kind of sink in, because the whole way to get people to elevate the experience is to listen to what's most important to them. Have you ever been at an event? I know that I have, but have you ever been at an event, you walked away from that event and said, well, there's a couple good things, right? And I've got this, and well, this was good, and I'll apply that, but all this was just kind of, we don't want that, right? We don't want that. We want it to be very, very impactful. We want it to be life-changing. That's the whole purpose, is to change lives for the better. So when we're going through, ask the question, what are your biggest concerns going forward? And even if you may say, well, gosh, what if nobody says that? Well, I will go back to the way you set it up. If you had a good dialogue and a good rapport with them at the table beforehand, they will answer that question. And then all you have to do is one simple follow-up question after that is, what else? What else? You say, oh, wow, that makes sense. What else? Oh, and you're writing it down. Write it down, okay? Write it down. Yeah, wow, gosh, that makes a lot of sense. What else? Okay, all right. And I had one person that said, I guess we don't really have any concerns. And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. Well, man, you guys are really doing awesome. I would just say it's kind of like, because we're here, maybe you don't have any concerns, but if you did, what would it be? And he was like, well, I don't have any concerns, but I guess if I did, it would be this. I was like, oh, okay, all right. What else? So it's important to engage and ask those questions, and they feel like they're listening, they're being listened to, and that you care. All right. All right. So now we're getting into the second session. Dr. Kim gets up and kind of talks about the next topic. And much like the first, just a different topic. And so you're going to then have that opportunity as facilitators to then have that interaction, that conversation at the table again. All right. Again, be aware of the time, because it could end abruptly. So you want to get right into it. And what I do, I want to say, don't be afraid to go away from the guide of the questions. Don't feel like you have to ask those specific questions. What I do, I'll tell you kind of what happened with our experience is that, I kind of came back to the questions that I had written down from earlier, and I said, so do you guys feel like this is something that really you struggle with, or that you'd like to discuss, or, and I said their name, and I was like, or would you want to talk about this, or the things that you said were most important to you? And, and I'd look at somebody else and say, or this. And so I'm just kind of going back to the things that they told me were their big concern. And I will tell you that they most of the time they said, no, I mean, I feel like I want to go back to that. We feel like we're good in this scenario. Let's go back to the biggest concerns. And so we started spending our time talking about that, and it just gave so much. And I wish that I could give you or tell you, other than just telling you, I wish you could feel and experience what I'm telling you, because it is so rich. It elevates that experience, as I've been talking about before. Okay, so don't be afraid to go off of the questions, and you will be amazed at the kind of dialogue that comes up. And I would say that repeat for every single session. And it's fine if they want to talk about the session that was just talked about. Great. I'm just saying that don't be afraid to veer off and have these conversations, because the thing that you want to impart is love, light, and life. And I think that you can do that a little bit better if you're talking about the things that are most important to them. So in conclusion, and listen, I know we've talked about a lot, and if you're feeling like, gosh, this is a little bit like taking a drink of water from a fire hose, feel free to give me a call. You can reach out to Colby. I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you after that point if you want to really dig down into some of the mechanics. But so in conclusion, there's a couple things that I want to talk about. One is, what if you're asked a question that maybe you don't know how to answer it? This is how do I articulate this? This is a safe place, all right? And you're around some strong people that can support, and you don't have to know all the answers. If you don't say something that I'm telling you to say, or if you don't feel like something went exactly perfect like you want to be, this is a forgivable experience, okay? You don't have to put that pressure on you, because I would say that would deter from the elevating of the experience. Just have fun with it. Try to just go into it going, you know what? I'm going to do this a little bit better this time. And then the next time, I'm going to do this a little bit better from last time. And just do it, approach it like that. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to do everything right the first go around. Now, the second time, you better, no, I'm teasing. But you don't have to know everything. So just have fun with it, all right? But if you don't know the answer, let them know. Hey, let me consider that, and I'll get back with you. Would it be okay if I just followed up with you? We can talk about it later. Or would it be okay if I grab Colby and Amanda afterwards, and maybe they could answer that question, or Dr. Kim, or I could go on and on, right? But that's what I meant. There's a lot of people that are around that will look to help, look to support. You're not alone in this, all right? So that's the first thing. So the second thing is there's going to be an evaluation that's passed out to everybody at their table, just because we want to figure out feedback is vital. And we want them to know that we are able to improve their experience, improve just the entire platform or the event or whatever, if we hear from them, all right, what they liked, what they didn't like, those kinds of things. And I will tell you, the way that you can use the evaluation is when you're collecting that evaluation for them at the end, their phone number is going to be on the evaluation. You can say, hey guys, we didn't have a lot of time to really unpack some of the things that were really important to you. And I'm feeling like maybe there could be a little bit more that we talk about there. And I don't know. I don't know. Do you feel that way? Because what we can do, if you're okay with it, I can follow up with you afterwards and give you a call or give you a text or whatever. Would that be something you'd like me to do? If you've done all of the other things and elevated that experience, I told you I would say that a lot. You've talked to them. Dr. Kim said I'm going to wear that phrase out, but hey, I love it. So I'm going to keep saying the elevated experience. But if you feel like that has done and you accomplished that, they're not going to say no for you calling them after the fact. All right. And then what I would do is there's a little section there, maybe, something that there's no print on the paper. Rip that little section off, almost like you're putting a piece of gum in the wrapper, right? Tear that little section off and say, all right, if you'd like, here's my name, here's my number. Feel free to give me a call and we can talk about anything, whenever is convenient for you, if that's something you'd like to do, or don't, it's, so those are the two things. But I just kind of want to wrap up and say, guys, you are asked to be a part of this because Colby and Amanda see something awesome in you, and just own that. Just have fun, and let's all elevate the experience. All right, we can do this, and you got it.